Hello, everyone. Sorry, apologies. Now I know I didn't put it up on the community post. I didn't say what time it was going to be live at. Now there was that much happening today. To be totally honest with you, I hardly had time to bless myself with the amount of stuff that was going on between the Awaktas and the Public Accounts Committee, and obviously what happened in Finland today. I had no time to bless myself basically. Then obviously being at work too didn't help. But 100 million things happened basically today. Obviously, with the Public Accounts Committee, as I say, what happened to the Parliament House in Finland, many other stuff too. This has been a busy day all around. Been a shit weather too, to be totally honest. But some shocking stuff to talk about tonight. Now, if you thought the bike shed was bad, I don't know about that one, but it's insane, to put it nicely. But anyway, I had to wait around for a few minutes and at the usual thing. I'm going to put on some relaxing music now. So bear with me. Speaking Irish. Why is he speaking Irish? Where is this music? I hate these ads. Too much. You hardly want to buy a security shed for 1.4 million, would you? You happen to have 1.4 million lying around, Yusuf. You could buy a security shed for us. How does that sound? I don't know I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Oh, do you want to pay for the TDs? It's costing another 200,000, please, to make sure the TDs are fit, etc., etc. We get to it in a second. Don't worry. You see in a second what I'm talking about. But you have that money lying around. It could be handy. The Irish government would like to know your location and like to know your bank account details, so you can send on the money for them. And that, and then obviously other stuff, and then obviously what happened in the Parliament House in Finland. I didn't vote them in there. I personally didn't vote any Fianna Fáil in the game. I never will, to be totally honest. So it's not my vote. I didn't vote them in. To be totally honest, the majority of the ministers in the government, they barely got in. They didn't get in the first count. They barely got in. Simon Harris, the Taoiseach, barely got in. Stephen Dodd, the Minister for Health, barely got in. All of them barely got in. They got in by the skin of their teeth. I didn't vote one of them, and I don't intend to vote any of them. Unless they went independent. But I'm not voting Fianna Fáil or the Green Party. They can go and jump the lake. I didn't vote them in. I don't think anybody after this votes them in. There's something wrong with you. They put it nicely to people. Because it's insane amount of money. Then the National Children's Hospital. But yeah, there's a good bit to talk about. We again, with the usual carry on, I have to wait around. The worst thing about it is that YouTube's been very tough for me. Now it's a lot worse than what it was the last year. It's been getting very more tougher on me in terms of censorship, etc., etc. It's pretty bad. Let's put it that way. The last 2 weeks, it's terrible. You can see the drop in the algorithm and stuff like that on the YouTube Studio. So that's why notifications are fucked, and it's a big clusterfuck basically with YouTube. Yeah, like the Labour Party, but I presume they will have to give the pensioners the fuel allowance because there's too much uproar about it. So I presume they will have to do that. Yeah, they will have to do it. They'll be forced to do it. Hello, Gordon. If that makes any sense, we'll have to do it eventually. Or the best thing to do would be to cut the refugees and not give any money to the refugees. And that'll stop them from coming to England if you just don't give them anything. If Mrs. Thatcher was about, that would be whole line. They wouldn't get any food or anything. That's whatever you say with Mrs. Thatcher. She wouldn't tolerate people turning up on the beaches. I don't think. Well, they wouldn't go when Mrs. Maggie Thatcher was about to. But you wouldn't fuck around with them. That's what I think that's a notification. But how was everything this evening? I know it's a shitty evening here. It was nice morning. It was good. There was a lot of fog this morning and stuff. Usually when there's fog, it's a good day. But it turned into absolute shit. The same as usual. Yeah, like it was all right this morning. Like to 12 o'clock, it was all right. It was middling. There was fog. There was a bit of haze and fog. But apart from that, it was nice up until 12 o'clock. The sun was splitting stones at one stage. Then at 12 o'clock, all hell just broke loose, so the sky just pissed. Um, so yeah, that's what I'm saying. They wouldn't go because they wouldn't get anything, even if they did end up in England. She wouldn't give them tuffins. Like she wouldn't give them a penny, and they would have to go back. And that's what would happen. Uh, Hello, Fiona. I'm sure you heard about our nice new security shed. It's better than the bike shed. So I think we should get into it. I think we should stop the music for this. So, a good government who have our best intentions at heart, um, in the infinite wisdom and in the best interest of the Irish people and the Irish state, have decided, in the infinite wisdom, of course, we're going to spend 1.4 million on a security shed that looks like a garden shed, to be totally honest. Even the roof is even like I don't know what they were smoking or who was smoking what or who signed off on it. But the Office of Public Works should probably be nearly shut down at this stage because the incompetence or the just sheer ignorance. Uh, and these people went to college, etc., is absurd. They should all just be put in prison, to be totally honest. That's what I would say. That's my solution, that they should be put in prison because it is criminal. This lack of accountability and this kind of waste of public resources and the misuse of public funds. I suppose that's the worst way to put it. They should be sent to prison for 10 to 15 years, the heads of the Office of Public Works, in my opinion, because it's issue after issue after issue. Not just the bike shed, now it's this security shed. Now, God only knows what else is going to come out. But long story short, somebody should be going to prison, and whichever TD knew about it should be going to prison too for a long time. And I know that's very harsh, but it should be, because that's the only way to really stop them if they do hard prison time. That's the only way to stop this kind of carry on. We've seen it with OT, we've seen it all over the country. It happens in every organization. Now, let me try and find this. So you want to see our new security shed. So this is at the side of the Department of Finance, near the office of the Taoiseach, the office of the basic government. So this is our new security shed. So they spent 1.4 million, 1.4 million, nearly 1.5 million on this. And you're probably taking to me this is a joke because the bike shed was 350,000 euro and counting probably, and this is probably more. So so basically, you're probably saying, what the fuck did they spend it? So basically, this is only about the size of the room. I done a video on it just before I went live. It's not that big. It's only a small fucking security desk, basically, with a fan. Unless the fan costs that much. But yeah, the wall and pillars on this fucking whatever you call this, like you think this would be on a bike shed. This roof is the most weirdest fucking roof imaginable. You think they would actually have this in the bike shed? But it's insane. 1.4 million, just to say 1.4 million on this gate. So basically, this was just not the buildings. You probably think this is the buildings, the new house or whatever. No, it's this yoke. 1.4 million. 1.4 million. Just to get that into your head for a second, that it could build 6 or 7 social houses, 6 or 7 brick and mortar houses. Get that into your head. Think about that. Because it actually could build 6 or 7 social houses for people. That kind of money. And we built this. And if this is 1.4 million, I don't know what to tell you, but we've been robbed. Somebody's scamming us. There's Indian scammers around scamming us because if this is 1.4 million, I don't know what to tell you. But whoever signed off on this and said this is okay, generally should be put into prison for a few years, and not given another job in any public sector again, or any government job. And whichever TD said this is a great idea, and should be probably put into prison too, because this is criminal. 1.4 million at most, 300,000, 400,000 at most. That's being generous. At most, that should cost, because again, they had a shed here. This is the worst thing about it. They had a shed like this here before, because it is basically just nearly a shed. It's worse than nearly the bike shed. It's more expensive than the bike shed. How could it be more expensive bike shed? Who knows? Only God really knows. But long story short, there was a thing here before like this, like a small, you would often see in businesses, like a small wee yoke for somebody to open the gate, etc., etc. Like that was okay. I don't know why they had to get rid of it and spend 1.4 million. 1.4 million. Think about this, 1.4 million. 1.4 million. You and I in our lifetime will never see that kind of money, and they spent it literally on this. And people homeless and people struggling to live, your mental health waiting list, scoliosis. The list is endless, and 1.4 million. So do you think we have the Irish government having that? Hello, John. How are you doing? Sorry, I'm actually having a fit because it's unbelievable. Yeah, I know that. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, you could generally build a brick and mortar house, you know, and that's what the spend. Like, I don't think people can acknowledge, 1.4 million, 1 million.4, nearly 1.5 million, nearly going up into the 2 million for this, for this. And as I said in my video earlier on, we can't even we can't even dig a hole without it costing the €3 billion. The National Children's Hospital, we have the bike shed, now we have this, and God only knows what else. That's what I'm trying to say. What else have they been hiding? Because this is only the tip of the iceberg, just to say. It only gets worse from here. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Because there's another thing here that is absolutely shocking. That, like, this is criminal. Like, it goes beyond incompetence, not knowing, etc., etc. All that plausible deniability. I'm just following orders, all that useless shit. But it goes into criminality at this stage. That is literally abuse of power. It's abuse of public resources. It's abuse of the taxpayer. That's what it is. And it should be arrested for domestic violence at this stage, be it the government, whoever signed off for this. Because it's the Office of Public Works too. Whoever's over, like the chairperson of the Office of Public Works, generally should be sacked and put in prison for a few years. The same as probably him and Ryan too, because the whole lot of them should nearly be put in prison. To be totally honest, if this kind of carry on, because this is criminal. Like, there's nothing else to describe. This is criminal. Simple as that. This is treason. I nearly go as far as treason. That's nearly borderline treason. I nearly would go as far as saying that, and I nearly would. But I don't. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? 1.4 million. Think about that. Think about it. I haven't think about it tonight. 1.4 million. What would you do with 1.4 million? Like, you could generally nearly build a big mansion. Well, not in Ireland, but in the Caribbean or something like that. 1. It's insane. It's a roof. Like, you think this would be on the back? Like, I don't know what kind of bollocks of a thing this is even. Like, I presume the roof costs the most. I couldn't foresee a wall and a pillar costing that much, and a gate and a fan and a bit of a, like, this is so. That's all the cost would put. It's quite like, it's literally eye-watering when you see this. Like, whatever about a bike shed? Like, the roof on the bike shed is not even good. Like, I don't know. I don't know what kind of bollocks for the sign this is, but presume if they get wet, they can go in there. Like, it's quite insane. I don't think people believe me, but it is the truth. Like, it is there. It is down. I've seen the documents from the Public Accounts Committee today. It is like they did spend it. It's there. It's in black and white there. Yeah, like the children's hospital, it's good in theory because obviously the country needs a new children's hospital. But at the moment, it's just a farce at the moment. It's going into the billions. It's the most expensive hospital in the world. Like, you think about all the big hospitals in America, etc., in New York, etc., in London, etc., etc. All that was cheaper than the hospital that we were getting here. And let's put it this way. Even when they opened the National Children's Hospital, guess what? There'd be no staff to put into it. There'd be nobody to put into it. They'd have to close it down. Like, it's a farce. It is really just a farce. Because the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, in Dubai, was 1.5 billion to build. The National Children's Hospital was 2.5 billion and counting. So it's going to be nearly probably 10 billion by the time they finish it. Like, yeah, this is, and we give them the money for Apple. Like, what more are they going to be buying? Yeah, do you not agree with me? This is criminal. It borderlines treason. I know that's a fire step, but this borderlines treason. This generally borderlines being sent to prison for the rest of your life at this stage with the misuse and the abuse. I would generally clarify this as abuse of the public interests and the public finances. It's not else but abuse. Because nobody can sit down and say, this is good use of public money. Nobody could do it. Like, nobody could sit, no TD or no senator can sit down and justify that, or justify the bike shed. Nobody can justify it. Like, if anybody justifies it, the coping's up and fierce. And that's not even the worst of it today. You have to see more. Are we ready for the next Shabbat? I'm sure people didn't hear about this yet. Are we ready? Like, you honestly have to sit down for 2 minutes. and you see this, so he's ready. Let me know when you're ready to see the next thing. Let me know when you see the clip of it there. But let me know when you're ready, because you generally probably have to sit down for a minute, just to say to people. So let me know when you're ready to see it, because it's astonishing. Are we ready? Because you might want to get bleach. Are we ready? Right. So look at this for a second. So nearly €200,000 going to be spent on fitness instructors to keep TDs in China. Like, excuse me, like it's their own. Like, this is the thing. I don't think they understand in their head, Eamon Ryan and these clowns in the door. Go for a walk. Go out for a jog. Go out and do something. Like, you don't need a fitness instructor to go and tell you go for a walk in the evenings or go for a walk before a walk or something like that. Like, do they? How do you simple? How do well? I know they're not well. Particularly this fella's not well. There's something definitely wrong with him. He's falling asleep all the time. But are you well? €200,000 to keep TDs fit. Are you well? And there's some schools in the country can't even get PE teachers. And they're literally spending this. Like, what do they need to know about a fitness instructor? The only thing they need to know is go for a walk, go for a run, get out and about. Don't be sitting in the fucking doll bar eating big steaks on the taxpayers' expense. That's what they need to be told. And then I could tell them that. They don't even have to employ me. I could go in and just say to them, fucking stop eating them big fucking steaks on the taxpayers' expense. And fucking big, huge meals, etc., etc. All paid for by you and me, of course. But that's all you need to tell them. Fucking get up your ass out of Dáil Éireann and start walking. But the reason why they won't go out and about and walk around, and this is the thing, because they're too afraid that people might say something to them and might be mean to them and might give out fuck to them about all this expense. So that's why they won't go. They want to be seen about, because they're too afraid to be asked questions. That's the simple as that. They're too afraid to be asked questions. Like, it's astonishing. Like, this is astonishing. 200,000, nearly the price of a bike shed they're spending on a fitness instructor along with the fitness equipment. And this lunatic, like, what can you say? Like, look at this crack. To help keep them fit. Like, this is insanity. Like, this is, are you well? Like, are they well? Are they well? Because, all these TDs are fucking big, huge people anyway. They wouldn't walk on batteries. Let's put it that way. They all sit in the door. They sit down all the day and do nothing. Like, they're generally good for nothing, the majority of these people. Like, this is their own expense. There shouldn't be a gym unless the house. What the fuck is it? Is it a school or what is it? Like, they should be able to go. Can they not go and pay for a gym membership themselves? Because, again, this is what I said on Twitter, that it's their own expense. It's not up to you and me to pay for to keep them in shape. I don't go to the TDs and say I want you to pay for my fucking, going for the gym. I assume the majority of us don't go to our local TD and say, here, pay for my gym session. They tell you to go do one. Like, this is insanity. And probably counting. This is €200,000. Just think about that. Just think about it. Sit down there and think about it. Because, this is insane. Like, this is the definition of insanity. Because the only thing they need to be told, the fitness instructor needs to tell them, get up off your arses, go for a walk around, go for a run, get on your bike. Like, Eamon Ryan just does this for the camera. Just to say he has no helmet on too. He should be probably wearing a helmet. But that's because a fan's probably parked up the road. He probably got out of this taxi and took out the bike and pretended that he was driving down, because that's what they'd be doing. But like, eye-watering, it's insanity. Yeah, like, that's literally daylight robbery. Like, you talk about scammers and stuff, like, this is a scammer thing. Like, it's up to it's their own expense. That's the simple side. It's their own expense to look after their own health. It's not up to you and me. Yeah, that's literally what I'm saying, John. If they went around, imagine you meeting your TD or your local TD, right, or the people who go around the area for a walk. They'd be asked questions. They'd be asked questions about why you spend this money. What are you doing for the community? Why are we only seeing you when you're looking for votes? They'd be asked too many questions. So they don't want that. That's why they're afraid to go out. Like, you wouldn't see one TD about when I was growing up, when I was younger, you see your local TD now and again walking the streets, or your local councillor, going about their day-to-day business, right? But nowadays, you wouldn't see one of them. You wouldn't find them for love of money. That's what I'm saying. You're right in that, John. I agree with you 100%. But still, nonetheless, I'm sure you would agree. That's just if they want to be fit and they want to be healthy, just go for a walk. Like, it doesn't take a fitness instructor to tell you to go for a walk or go for a run. Or go and like these people, all these TDs and senators are multi-millionaires. Multi-millionaires. They could buy the gym, to be totally honest. They could generally go and buy a gym in the middle of Dublin and use it privately if they wanted to. Like, they don't need this. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, the schools, like, when I went to secondary school, we got a gym when I was in second year in secondary school, because we're building a new school. But long story short, there's schools around the country that don't have fitness, like don't have PE teachers, and this is the kind of shit. It's insanity. Like, it generally is. And if you vote, just to say that, if you vote for uniform feeding, you're going to get the same thing over and over again. That's as simple as that. But like, I don't know what to tell you, but it's quite insane. So this other useless, I don't know what you would call it, but let's be honest. I feel sorry for Ben Scallon. I genuinely do. He's the only one actually asking us some tough questions and making us sweat a bit. Now, to be totally honest, poor Ben Scallon, I actually feel sorry for him, because he's literally losing the will to live. Like, in this video, like, and in many videos before when he was talking to Norma Foley. Anybody lose the will to live talking to Norma Foley, because that's basically her thing. We're going to drive people to insanity, because it's like talking to the wall, to be totally honest. Like, like, he asks her 3 or 4 times about a thing, and she keeps talking nonsense about something that's not really even relevant. Like, she talks about over and over again this different thing, not answering the question. And you're just losing the will to live. Like, that's the way she's going. That's the way she carries on. Like, people literally lose the will to live about her. And that's how she gets away with all her bullshit. Because she makes literally people lose the will to live, asking her questions. So I generally feel sorry for Ben Scallon, but I do thank him for his service in trying to get some kind of answer from Norma Foley, because nobody in the world can actually do it. Get a straight answer. Like, literally, what's your opinion on it? And let me be very clear. Every time, literally, she's like, let me be very clear, then doesn't be very clear. Like, what the fuck? I don't know what to say to you, but I think Ben Scallon should deserve a Medal of Honor, to be totally honest, because they having to deal with this woman. I pity anybody who actually has to, because you can't get through to this woman. She doesn't seem to, like, I don't know if she doesn't want to understand, or does she just pure ignorance on her. But I don't know what's wrong with this woman. I don't think anybody knows what's wrong with this woman. But she shouldn't be the Minister of Education. To be honest, she shouldn't be anywhere. To be totally honest, she shouldn't really be in prison too, for wanting to teach how children have to masturbate, etc. So she generally should for that, because it borderlines, you know what. And that's just saying it straight. But it borderlines that. It borderlines prison sentence. Yeah, no, but watch that video from Grip Media. It's generally like nails on the chalkboard. Well, they must have seen it coming. So I wanted to bring some good news, at least, just before I go on 10 years. So thankfully, after literally a month and a bit, and after all summer, think about that, all summer before the schools were back. So I was talking about this for the last, you probably heard me often, it was literally going on for the last, for a while. About time these children now have a bus. They actually have a bus now. So that's good. So all these children here finally they can get to school and all that. And that's good. So it's the 25th, it's nearly October. So they missed out nearly a month of school, basically, a lot of these children. And now they have to catch up, obviously, things they missed or whatever. But it's not good enough. Simple as that. It's not good enough. And again, Norma Foley's to blame for this, because she's the Minister over School Transport. But it's about time something's done to help them. It's generally about time. It shouldn't have took this long, because the new during the summertime, the new even before the schools were back, this would be an issue. and they dug their head into the sand and refused to do anything about it. So it's about time they actually done something. And it took literally a month and a bit for them to do something, but at least something was done. But this is going to be the same issue again, over again next year. And it will be, 100%. Now, I talked about this before. So this is in Cavan Cross in County Monaghan. So as you see, a big old nursing home, 70 beds. So they put it up for sale for 6 million. Now, my assumption here is, particularly because it's a big building, etc., and the majority of local people too agree, and the majority of people in Monaghan, the wider Monaghan area, does agree with this, because this is just dribble, what the mainstream media say, that this is going to definitely be used for probably refugee accommodation. Like, let's be fair, probably somebody would buy it and sell it, rent it out to the state, or the state would buy it and use it as the work provision setup. Like, it does seem like it probably will be. Not confirmed now, but that's my assumption. Because it is a big building, it's not a small building. So I presume that might be what they do. We see. But it's up in the air. But basically, I don't know either. I know a good few people in the comments of Facebook, etc., on Twitter, have said the same as what I'm saying. Because there's no guarantee it won't be used. You think the government say, no, we're not going to use it when these rumours are started. But then the fact they won't address it is very suspicious, because you think we'll instantly say, no, we're not. But it's the fact of the matter, it's all very quiet. There's not been said about it not being going to be used. So we see. Because it doesn't say, you think the media would ask, is this going to be used as the work provision setup? Because that's the main talking point of it. So we see. We'll keep you updated on that. Yeah, we see what happens. Maybe they turn into, who knows? We see. But I'm just going by what other people are saying too, and what I take, because it is a big place, like you've seen it there. Now, just saying about so this is the Cavan Mullen Education Training Board. So this is basically the Institute, Cavan Institute, etc., the Mullen Institute too. So some courses, like you have courses on different things, hairdressing, etc., security, stuff like that, is cancelled because of a lack of funding. Not that there's not people wanting to go for it. There's no money for it. So there's money for a bike shed. There's money for a security hut, but there's no money to help, a young person wanting to go on a career of hairdressing or something like that. Like, there is courses, but there's not as many, as there used to be. So basically, there's no money. But there's money for bike shed, there's money for the TDs, there's money for fitness instructors. There's no money for the only job, but there's no money for that. But there's money for everything else. There's money for Ukraine. There's money for this. There's money for that. But there's no money to help any young person. It's double Dutch, really. We'll go to that now in a second. So just briefly talk about this, because I have a few things to say, not much to say. So no attorney used to live where I used to live when I was younger. So obviously a big crowd sending them off. This is a Cavan Main Street and Saturday. So I do wish the best. It's unfortunate the business has to close. It was a great asset to Cavan, and he's a good man. The same with the family. The family is very nice and very good to the Cavan community. He used to give a lot of money to the community. So we do wish him the best of luck in everything everything he does in his retirement, and same with his family. The very best of luck in everything. And we do thank him sincerely for his service to Cavan too. And particularly elderly people too, wanting to get CDs, etc., etc. It was a good service for them, so we're very thankful for that. And of course, we wish them all the best. So yeah, I just briefly touched on this too. So there's been a good bit of graffiti around Cavan. I don't know if there's any more photos, but yeah, it's pretty sad to see it happening. So these are new signs, kind of feel, and as you see, they're just a mess. And the same with this horse just beside the institute there. It's a disgrace that people can't just leave things alone. They can't just ignore it. If they don't like it, just ignore it, look away, go somewhere else, whatever. But it's thousands. Like, it is. I know the exact figure. I can't say the exact figure how much it is, because obviously it's a criminal investigation and all that crack. Because they're trying to get some of these people. But it's inappropriate. It is generally inappropriate because tidy towns, the voluntary group, they're raising money. This thing was raised by the tidy towns. You know, it was built by the tidy towns. Money was raised, etc., etc. It's not acceptable. It isn't. It's just pure tuggery, and that's really what it is. It's pure tuggery. And they wouldn't do it at home. Simple as that. They wouldn't do it at home. They wouldn't dare do it at home to spread anything. But I do feel sorry for the cavan tidy towns having to deal with this, and cavan county council to a certain extent, because this shouldn't be happening. It's simple as that. It's not acceptable. It shouldn't be tolerated. And so I do appeal to people in Cavan, if you see something like this, of footage of it, of people doing kind of damage to signs, public signs that's owned by the public, to report it to Garda Síochána, because it shouldn't be tolerated. And to anybody that actually done these things, I would say to you to stop doing it. If you've done it before, don't do it again. Simple as that. Because it's extremely disrespectful. And it's thousands of euro, and these people don't have to pay it, and it's coming out of the taxpayer's pocket too, to clean it up, etc., etc. And again, in the instance of the horse and other stuff, it's a voluntary group. Like, it's a voluntary group that's taking it out of their own pocket. Only Joe's are given kindly to it. So, and especially because it's a voluntary group too, to do good work. They're doing atrocious work. The cavan tidy towns, they're doing more needed than the council are doing, the local authority, and that really tells you something. And it's not nice to be treated in that way. So I say to people to cop on, to please cop on, before you get caught doing it, because you will get caught. But yeah, it's a queer sum of money. That's all I say. I know exactly, roughly, how much it is. But we see what happens. But it's a sad state of affairs that these things can't be left alone. Favorite book? Not really any favorite book. There'll be one over next. Come back to me next September, and we get we get your favorite book. How does that sound? Come back to me next September. How does that sound? Hello, everyone. How are we doing? Yeah, I'm sure you know about our new security shelter at 1.4 million. And obviously, then the TDs too are getting a fitness instructor for €200,000 because why not? At this stage, you might as well go gun ho. So I just want to briefly touch on this too. Like, this is insane. In Cavan, in a rural county, they're looking for €200,000. Like, the price of the fitness instructor, they're looking for literally a fitness instructor's price. Like, it's quite insane. Like, they're sitting there with a straight face in some back end of nowhere in Cavan and saying that'll be €200,000, please. That's 200,000. And we were talking the other night, a few nights ago, about people having children, etc., etc. This is a 3-bedroom semi-attached house in Cavan. Say for example your mother and father and you have one child. Like, where in the name of God are you going to come across that amount of money? And how are you going to even pay it off? Because even if the two of you were working, it'll probably take you nearly a year, and then obviously take out a bank loan, and the bank will fuck you over in every conceivable way. So basically, it's daylight robbery, because it's the price of the fucking nearly bike shelter, like literally a bike shelter. Like when you think of it that way, it is lunacy. It is generally lunacy. But this at least is the brick and mortar house. There's not many of them about nowadays, but but it's insane to say that it's in a rural county. I wouldn't mind in the big city or something like that. In some part, like in in Drung in County Cavan, and Drung is a small rural parish. There's not many houses or anything around it. There's a few. The population roughly in Drung will be about 300, 400 at most. Not many people. Mostly elderly people, right? With small bungalows. So there's a few houses in Drung. And they're looking, and Drung is not beside any major towns or any major factories or anything. It's really out in the middle of nowhere. And they're looking for 200,000 for a house like this, for 2 bedrooms. Like 200 and something thousand euro, not even 200,000, 230 something thousand euro. Like, it's daylight robbery, really. Because I wouldn't mind if it's in Cavan Town, you would understand. In Cavan Town, people would want the houses, it's the main town, etc. Understandable prices would be up in the main town and big towns. But in rural Cavan, you have your head, well, it's insane. Yeah, the Burj Khalifa. Yeah, we were just talking about that too. So the list goes on, We could be here all day, but I don't know if you see with the fitness instructor. I could show you later when we talked about the first thing. I don't know if you've seen that. They're going to help the TDs become fit. because why not? €200,000, you might as well. It's a steal. And then obviously a good security office, a security fucking shack at €1.4 million. It's a great country. It's a great country for someone. As we've seen there, there's courses for the Cavan and Mullen Institute, and there's no money for them. There's no money for them courses. There's no money. The money's not there. So who knows what that money is? But it's insane. It's literally the definition of insanity. But speaking of the National Children's Hospital, so there's a big fucking hullabaloo about it. Well, there's always been a big hullabaloo about it because it's an insane amount of money. As everyone only just pointed out, the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, is cheaper than the National Children's Hospital. And when you say it, it's a joke. It's the most expensive hospital in the world, just to say. It's literally insanity. Like, it's literally going up. It's not just 2.45 billion. It's going up every day. Eventually, it'll probably be 10 billion. So, but all of a sudden, the company that's over it is like basically the Minister for Health said to hold the state to add some for money. But it's quite like it's insane. And the lack of because obviously the catch is abandoned now, as I said in the video the other day. But it's insane. The most expensive hospital in the world. In the world. Think about that. Think about that. Like, sit down and think about that for a second. Because originally this was only supposed to be 650 million project. How did they turn into 2.5 billion? I'm counting. Think about that. In a year's time, we could be here saying it's 12 billion euro. Because it generally could, because it just keeps going up. So it was supposed to be, this is literally since 2014 that we're talking about doing this. And it was supposed to be open this year. It's going to be next year, the end of next year. And wait till you see, that'll be in 2030, basically. And then when the hospital opens, there'll be no staff to put into it. So it's going to be the same bullshit again. There'll be lack of staff. There'll be no bed. They have to close down beds because there's not enough staff. Like, it's just going to be a big clusterfuck. I can see it coming a mile away. Like, it's insane. It's generally insane. Because you see the price of some, like, as I said, Burj Khalifa, the tallest building. I would dread to think if the Irish government said in the morning, let's try and get the tallest building in the world. I would dread to think how much that would cost. Like, it'd be generally the most expensive building probably in history. There probably would be 120 trillion euro to build something like the Burj Khalifa here, a bit taller. Like, it generally would take 50 billion euro. Like, not even 50 billion, that's been too general, 100 and something trillion euro. Like, literally, they can't even dig a hole. This is the thing about this country. They can't even dig a hole in the ground without costing €1 million. Like, they can't even literally dig a hole. Like, simple as that. They can't even literally dig a hole. They can't build houses. They can't build houses. They can't build a hospital. They can't build a bike shed. They can't build a security thing. They can't build anything, basically. They couldn't build a hen house. They generally couldn't. If you asked them to build a hen house, they couldn't build a hen house without it costing €6 billion. Like, what kind of a country is this? Like, as I said in the video earlier on, is this the banana republic? Literally could at least do something. In this country, it's just fucking endless. I don't know what to make of it. Like, all words, there's no words to describe the lunacy. And like, generally, somebody should be going to prison. Like, in the children's hospital, somebody should be going for life to prison. Simple as that. There generally should be somebody going for life to prison because of this children's hospital. There generally should be. And never let out again. Simple as that. That's what I would propose. And the people over it the Minister for Health should be set to prison too. Not only for that, I can't even mention the other fact, but it generally should be. Because it's borderline treason. It's generally going on treason. And I say that straight. It's definitely treason. Like, it's beyond incompetence. It's beyond I'm just following orders, etc., etc. It borderlines treason. And misuse of public funds, because that's what it is misuse of it's abuse of public funds. I need to go with the domestic violence route and saying that you have Irish people hostage paying for this hotel. Yeah, like, it's generally insane. Like, I'm sure you can hear in my voice, I can't believe it. Like, I don't believe it, Victor Meldrum. But I don't believe it. Like, this is, like, we sit here, like, we're sitting here and say this is a serious country. Like, I'm sitting here and saying, like, we're a sovereign country. It's insane. Like, you generally couldn't, but like, if you ask the Irish government now in the morning, I want to build a hen house. God only knows how much money they'll spend on that. It'll probably be 50 billion. Like, we should ask them in the morning now to build a hen house and see how much it costs. Because I don't get it. I generally don't get it. Like, it's insanity. Like it's generally insanity. Like, and the fact that nobody knows who signed off on this security thing and this bike shelter. What they do know, they don't want to tell us, but of course, because they're trying to protect the cronies. And the fact that nobody has been given the sack, because generally people should be given the sack over this, along with a lot of ministers, etc. Like, it's all just for like it's definitely. And then when you see this, so obviously CAMS is the adult mental. I had dealings to just pause that for that. So CAMS is the mental, the young people's mental health. And as you see, this child was locked out of the CAMS office. And pretty much the only reason why, and this is just to say it straight to you, because there's not enough resources for CAMS in Cavan. As I say, there's people literally during the lockdown, even now, it's about 10 months on the waiting list just to be seen, not even to be given medicine or to be referenced to a psychologist, just to be seen. Think about that. A state agency that's run by the HSE, and it is, CAMS is run by the HSE, a state agency just to be seen, just to be in the office and say, yeah, we're going to get you seen to by a psychologist or whoever, just to be seen. And I went through CAMS myself back a few years ago. I know the struggles. I know how difficult it is, and they're not the best service. There shouldn't be. They really should be disbanded and we built to another organisation. To be totally honest, like so sad, because Save Our Sons and Daughters, a great organisation. They're a voluntary group, and they're doing far better than CAMS. And they have more money. The state agency has more money than the voluntary agency, and they're doing better. It's definition of insanity. But long story short, there's no money. There's no money. There's no money to look after this 11-year-old. There's no money. Simple as that. No money. There's no money. All the TDs are like, no, there's no money. She just has to be left to suffer. That's as simple as that. Just suffer away. We don't care. We're worried about a bike shelter. And this is what's happening. And this is the like up and down the country. This is what's happening. Simple as that. This is what's happening in Ireland. And this is what's happened because of the competence. That's why I'm saying they should generally go to prison, because that money be better used. That 1.something million on looking after this young lassie and making sure she's fine and she's the best. She can have a good future, because again, it's going to affect her development. Because we're just basically abandoning her and saying, we don't care. As a state too, and as a people, we're basically just saying to her, we don't care. We don't care about you. You're the future generation. We don't really care. We're more worried about a bike shelter. And that's the thing. It's the stories. It's the people behind it. Because these are people. These are Irish citizens. They deserve to be cared about. They deserve to be acknowledged. They deserve the care and attention of the Irish state. They deserve to be looked after. Simple as that. Not the TDs, not the fuckers that are on huge salaries. They don't deserve to be looked after. These people deserve to. This woman probably works a 9-to-5 job, pays her taxes, tries her best to make ends meet, and the government fucks them over in every conceivable way. It's unacceptable. It generally borders into treason what the government is doing, and particularly Stephen Donnelly is not much tradition, because this is Stephen Donnelly's watch. Or Mary Butler, particularly Mary Butler, should generally probably be in prison for a few things. At this stage, it generally should, because this is criminal. And not to mention, I've talked about it before in Cavan, during the lockdowns and stuff, all the suicides that happen of young people, and the lack of care that was given by CAMS, etc., etc. I could go on, and people being left on medication, young people being left on medication for far too long, doing damage to them because of CAMS. Like, generally, whoever's over CAMS should be probably put in prison too. Like, this is criminality. This is the definition of nearly criminal. They can't just say we're just following orders, etc. That shouldn't wash. Simple as that. Or we're doing our best. We're doing this. We're doing that. Because clearly they're not. Clearly they're not. They should be moving heaven and stars moved to help these people out. It's not acceptable. I'm sure people would agree, because they're spending money on bike fucking shelters. There's money for bike shelters, but there's no money for this. It's the same with scoliosis. Like I get very ticked when I see these things happen, because it shouldn't be happening in a first world country. It should not be an issue. This should not be an issue. Straight away, as soon as they look for help, 100% we'll look after you. Simple as that. But the fact of the matter is, they say, no, we don't care. That's pretty much the answer they got. And it's not acceptable. Hello, Shawnee. How we doing? Yeah, the wrong people do. It's as I say, it's somebody that works in the public service and the civil service. It's who you know. It's not what you know. You could be I could have fucking 10 million degrees, right? It's who you know in Fianna Fáil, Fianna Gael, who you know in the government, who you know in the Department of Rural Communications, who you know. It's not what you know. You could have no brain in your head. It's if you know the right people. That's the thing, and that's somebody that's in the civil service. And I've seen it. It's who you know. It's not what you know. I could be professor of everything. And still they wouldn't get like me because I wouldn't agree with it. If I seen this happening, at a bike shout in Take for Sapper Cavan, I would fucking kick up fuss about it. And they don't want that. They want somebody that sits down and says nothing because they're loyal to to the state, to the people that employed them. They're afraid of losing their job. That's as simple as that. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And that's just a simple answer. That's what it is in the Irish civil service. It's who you know, it's not what you know. And the same with this Office of Public Works. It's the same in every other agency in the government. It's because they are Fianna Fáil, Fianna Gael supporters. It's the same with the National Children's Hospital. Oh, just Fianna Fáil and Fianna Gael, basically fanboys. And that's how they get in there. Because they follow orders. Whatever Fianna Fáil, Fianna Gael says, they follow it to the T. People like me and other people will question things. We'll say, hang on a second. What are you telling me to do here? Are you telling me to do this but against the public's interest? This is not in the public's interest. They don't want that. They want somebody who just follows orders blindly. Just following orders. That old trope. That's what they use. That's the excuse the public Office of Public Works say now. Just following orders. I was just told to do it by whoever. We didn't say a name, but we were told to do this and we were told to do that. We're not going to mention names, but that's what's happening. And again, it's who you know. It's not what you know. And that's what it is in the civil. So it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be it. It should be people that are very good, qualified people that know their stuff. That's good people that's going to do good things. But it's the people who get in are the bad people. People that are complicit in this, that says nothing and sits down and says nothing just because they're afraid of their job, afraid of losing their job, afraid of being kicked out, afraid of Fianna Fáil, Fianna Gael looking them in a bad way. Simple as that. Like I genuinely never would get in to any high government agency because, again, I'm sitting here saying this. None of them would dare say it. If you ask anybody in the Office of Public Works now to say what I just said, they would not even dare. Even people in local authority, they wouldn't even dare. They'd be shitting themselves because they'd be too afraid to lose their job in the morning. But again, the main thing is it's only a fucking job. There's many jobs out there. It's about doing the right thing. I think that's the most important. The same with Maurice McCabe did and John Wilson. They did the right thing. They blew the whistle when they seen something wrong in the Garda Síochána Connor. They did the right thing. They might have lost their jobs, but they're rich men today because they stood up and were counted for. And they wanted the truth to get out. They didn't care about their own queers. They wanted the truth to be out. And I think that's the most important thing for society, particularly in an agency like Garda Síochána Connor or other agencies. It's important that the public knows the truth and that nothing's hidden. Simple as that. Yeah, that's what they want to do here. They want to privatize the HSC. We see it all the time. They want to privatize it. Like, that's the only solution. Because you see, it's criminal too what's happening in the HSC with people on trolleys and even on cams, take for example, that young lassie there. It's criminal. There's no other word to describe it but criminality. Simple as that. It doesn't borderline incompetence anymore. It doesn't borderline stupidity. It borderlines criminality. And that's what needs to be emphasized in the state, that these people in HSC, the higher officers of the HSC, should be going to prison. Because it's not good enough giving them the sack really anymore. It's about sending them to prison for a few years and let them think about the mistake. That's what I take in it. So moving on to Finland, I know usual thing. So it's time to cut quite well. So they had two pandas in Helsinki Zoo. And the were very, I didn't see them now in the zoo. I wasn't at the zoo in Helsinki, but there are two pandas. So basically, what happened here? Because you've probably seen the zoo is a private agency in Helsinki. It's not run by the government, but it's subsidized by the government. So the support grads, etc., etc. So obviously the true Finns came along, and we're like, "Fuck that! It's time to cut." So that's what happened. It was time to cut, and unfortunately, the pandas are going to be sent back to China because the true Finns want the cut. So he's lucky that the panda wasn't cut, because the truth is. Good evening, Sean. How are you doing? So I just want to talk about the deputy prime minister of Finland for a second. So yeah, this is this. So this is to do with the budget in Finland. Now it's completely like it's a whole fucked up situation basically. But yeah, you shouldn't be afraid. Like this is just threatening at this stage. Like generally, she's going around just threatening people. You shouldn't be afraid of the sitters. Like, this is generally what she's going around saying, and then with a hacksaw and a chainsaw, like this is the woman over the finance and the deputy prime minister. She's going around saying you shouldn't be afraid of the sitters. Like that's very I think that is very threatening. You know, like imagine like, this is very threatening, and then the hacksaw. I don't know what to tell you about that, but I take that as you will. But you shouldn't be afraid of the sitters. This is this is the deputy prime minister of Finland, just to say. So she's doing well. So basically, talk about prison. It's very concerning how obsessed she is with sitters, but it's quite insane. You're putting up a bike shelter, yeah, the pipe like literally there's no money for a bike shelter. What do you mean there's no money? She literally come along with the sitters. Like she's running around Finland with sitters, just saying it's time to cut. Because that's what they're doing. They're just cutting everything. Like they wouldn't give any money to anything. They're getting it hard to give anybody any money, basically. Like, like they're just going around with sitters cutting things. Like that's what she's doing. She's running around with sitters saying it's time to cut. That's what she's literally doing. Like literally, as you see here, she's literally calls herself the Minister of Sitters. Like that's what she refers to herself. And the minister, like as Minister for Finance, she refers to the Ministry of Finance as the Ministry of Sitters. Like this is the minister, and then she comes along saying you shouldn't be afraid of the sitters, because obviously the budget is time to cut again. So basically, there's nothing new, just basically time to kill everybody, and then a hacksaw on the chainsaw, it's insane. Like this is literally insane. Like it's insanity. Like you should I deem this nearly as a threat. Like you shouldn't be afraid of the sitters. It's insane, really. And then going on about hacksaw and chainsaw. And this is not the first thing she said about sitters. Like Lennon, she's known for going around the place with sitters. Like again, the one thing I would give her, the one thing I give this. Like literally, this is the same woman that literally said empathy doesn't belong in politics. So what I just said with that young lassie there, that couldn't get treatment for CAMS, she would say, "I don't have empathy for," because who cares really? That's what she. That's literally what she said. But in politics, you shouldn't have empathy for people. So that's literally the definition of a psychopath right there. When you see that kind of thing, that literally you don't have empathy. It's insane. But I don't know what to say about this. Like this is quite insane that she's just publicly doing that, But at least in fairness, the bike shed wouldn't be there because it's time to cut, and then obviously there'd be no security thing. Like in fairness, the true Finns have been giving themselves expenses. I talked about it before. They're giving themselves huge expenses for cow allowances, €12,000 for 5 months, etc., etc. It's insane. Save another country. Yeah, well, I'm doing my bit. But talk about Finland. I know if you want to see this. So, unfortunately, the Parliament House was vandalized. So, this is Extinction Rebellion. You probably remember when I was in Finland back a few months ago. Extinction Rebellion was causing a lot of ruckus. They were blocking tram lines. They were blocking the streets, etc. They were causing multiple disruption across Finland. They want to be climate neutral, I suppose. Even though Finland is the cleanest air in the world and cleanest water in the world, and one of the most cleanest countries in the world, in terms of litter, etc., recycling, it's on another level compared to here in Ireland. But as you can see here, so they had a huge amount of spray. If this would load, so this is the Parliament House. I was here. I was in this is the footsteps of Parliament. Just behind it, they'll try and get a better picture maybe of it. But long story short, that loads more fire extinguishers. Thankfully, they were stopped before they could do it. They wanted to paint the whole pillars of the Parliament red. So obviously, all these people. So they're talking about giving them terrorist charges. So they're talking about putting them under basically the definition of terrorism in Finland. But I don't know what that passed. But basically, everybody's furious about it in Finland. because this is an old building. Was built in the 1930s. And I suppose, as one Finnish politician said, and I do agree with this, it's the same that happened to Dáil, I would agree. That lots of people died. Like, this is the simulation, the Finnish parliament. Same as Dáil and Shannon. People had to fight for that to be a thing. The same as the Finnish parliament. People had to fight for it to exist, in Finland. And this kind of, in every parliament in any democracy around the world really simulates freedom and democracy in that country, and the struggle for freedom, etc., etc. And for some to kind of do this to any parliament, even if it was, I would say the same if it was in the United States, I would say the same if it was in Norway, in Denmark, in Germany, wherever. Like, you shouldn't be attacking old parliamentary buildings, like particularly buildings of significant importance. And the saddest thing about it, this is the first time, and you're probably wondering too, I don't think it's bad, because I have a lot to say about it, because I know a lot about it. But as you can see, it's quite a lot of damage. And this page is hard to get off. Like, they're still at it now. Like, they work throughout the night to try and get it off. And especially because it was on the steps too. Like, it's a huge mess, basically. And it's on the walls behind it. Like, it's a huge mess. It's going to cost hundreds of thousands of euros to clean. And particularly that it's stuck in between the cracks. But thankfully, the police carried them off. Like, they were all arrested. But they wanted to do the whole pillars, so they've done the first few pillars. But they wanted to do, they were stopped before they could do any more. But they were kind of hauled away on it. But yeah, so I went in that day to the Parliament House. So I try and explain a bit better. So basically, there's doors here. Straight away, you get into the Parliament. And you're probably saying how open the Finnish Parliament is. And it's very open. I said about it when I was there too. That literally, you could bring literally whatever about Dáil, because there's gates and stuff in the way of people protesting. Like, Finnish people could literally go to the steps of the door, like the steps of the Parliament. Like, literally, the Parliament's just in here. So basically, you see there the door here. The doors are here. They go into the Assembly Hall. And from the Assembly Hall, just literally a door in there is the Parliament. So basically, people like the people, MPs, etc., can listen to the people that's on the steps, because the way Finnish democracy works, when I was there, and the way the idea of Finland was founded on, the people won't be ignored. You know, the way here in Dáil, they can ignore people because it's outside the gate, and it's a bit away from the building, so they won't hear people, and they don't have to acknowledge people's presence. Over there, they kind of do, because Parliament's literally the seats of Parliament is just literally in there, like literally in a doorway, basically. So that's the thing, and obviously, it's more open. There's no gates around the Parliament, because again, the foundations of Finnish democracy is that people will be heard, and people have the power, and that's what it's open. But imagine this building's been here 90 years nearly, and this is the first time ever something like that has happened to the Parliament. So unfortunately, they probably will have to put up gates and stuff to restrict people on the step. Maybe they will, I don't know. But it's fair to say everybody's furious about it, that this kind of thing happened. Especially because there's only 10 of them that done it. But these 10 people are they're facing maybe 5 years in prison and 40,000 euro fine. So they're facing 5 years, the whole lot of them. 5 years in prison and 40,000. Well, I would have suggested they would have been made to clean it up. But, obviously. Hello, Tony. No, she wasn't there today, no. But it's Extinction Rebellion. It's a group. You seen during the summer she was there. And there was trouble then too, because they were blocking the tram lines. Like, the Finnish government at the moment are talking about banning them, like not allowing them to protest, etc., etc. But you probably remember before, the Finnish government were trying to bring in a law saying anything that's an anti-government protest, they can send in the police to shut you down. So it kind of plays into their handbook a bit too, because they can basically send in the Gestapo to stop you. But it's a very sad state of affairs, especially because Dáil, and I suppose in a lot of parliaments, you can't get near the parliament. You can't get onto the steps. But I can emphasise, like the members of parliament, etc., etc., are very good people. No, not the members of parliament, but the staffers and stuff like that I met there too, and the Secret Service, etc., etc., the Finnish parliament. They're all very nice and genuine people. They're nothing bad about them. They couldn't be more friendlier, basically. It's a shame that this thing has happened. And it's a shame that they've done it, again, especially because it's such an old building. And particularly, as many people pointed out, this survived the Second World War. It only sustained a few hits in the courtyard. like at the back of the parliament. So it survived the Second World War. It survived the continuation with the Winter War. It's a shame that this is the first time ever it was kind of attacked in a way like that, and particularly because it's such a historical building too. And as I suppose people just say it's an old fucking building. Well, who cares? But I suppose it's a simulation of it too, of Finnish democracy. The same if something happened to Dáil and Shannon, I would say the same thing. And the people that founded this state, Michael Collins, etc., the people who were in the first Dáil, that's their legacy, basically, Dáil and Shannon, and they established it. They wanted to be a democracy. They wanted it to be people that could vote, only people into power. And same with the Mansion House, where the first Dáil was held in the Mansion House. If anything happened there, I would say that I'd be more vicious than this about declaring it. But nothing should be happening to historical buildings, regardless if it's any building. Anything of historical significance shouldn't be damaged in this way. And particularly, again, it's a great cost to the Finnish taxpayer to clean this mess up. Particularly because the paint they use, the worst thing about it is in between the steps. And it's going to take a lot of money to clean it basically all up because it's just a big mess. Like there's some of it that simply won't come off. So they basically have to paint the pillars. Which is very disruptive, especially because they failed on the goal. Whatever they tried to achieve, they failed because people wanted to be banned now. People wanted extinction. Before that, when they were blocking roads, people were willing to tolerate it. But if this is the line they're going to go, attacking buildings, etc., then they probably should be considered. As long as obviously not banned completely, but if they're going to continue this, they have to ban it, I suppose. But as you can see, it's quite a lot of work. But what I do say about it, this is the last thing, is I'll show you another few images of it. But the last thing I say on it, I do think they should be charged with terrorism, of historical, like terrorism and the Terrorism Act. I do think they should be, because this is nearly as bad as terrorism, to be told, especially the extreme ignorance of caring about any historical significance of the building. And not even that itself, is democracy itself. It values democracy and freedom, independence of a sovereign country. I do think they should be charged with terrorism. They should be thrown in for a long time in prison. But I suppose 5 years, if they do get 5 years, that's what they could get, along with €40,000 of a fine. Even though I would say they should pay for every penny of the damage. But only for the Finnish police and the Secret Service, only for them acting quickly. It would have been a lot worse. Like the whole parliament probably would have been covered in red paint. Yeah, I seen the etc. Like that's just domestic terrorism. That really, there's no way of putting about it. So the first time ever, let me just get this. So the first time ever, I kind of agreed with the leader of the True Finns. Now, obviously, she's going to probably cut the life into oblivion after they get. So for the first time ever, I kind of agreed with what she said. You should make those Westicles clean the pillars of Parliament. Uh, Give me